Okay, so the first product you will need is some baby powder, which already has cornstarch in it. It's the main ingredient actually, but you could also just use cornstarch or you can mix them together. Then you will need rubbing alcohol if you want to press your blush, but you can skip this step if you want it to be loose. I also have a video, which I'll link on the screen, of how to unbreak broken makeup. Then you will need some food coloring to use as like pigments to add some pigmentation. This one is optional, but you can use like a blush or something like I'm using just to give it a little bit more color. Okay, so then you'll need the paper plate and, oh yeah, you need the paper plates to keep all the dyes on so that you don't end up like staining where you're using. And you also want to keep a mat down just because it can get messy. And then just some stuff to stir with. So I have like a broken makeup tool, a chopstick and a spoon, and then also some toothpicks. And then these jars are really helpful, especially for somebody who likes to do DIYs with me, like me. They're from Joann's, and I think I got 25 of them for $10. And they're really nice and thick. They can hold a lot of things, and I just love using these. So I definitely recommend that you guys get those. But you can use whatever compact you have. Then you're going to want to take your baby powder and cornstarch and put them onto the plate. And then you're just going to want to stir them up a little bit. And then if you are using like a blush or a highlighter or something, you're just going to want to scrape out a little bit of it and put it into the mixture. I'm not actually using a lot of it. I just wanted some shimmer in it because I think that the food coloring is matte, but I'm not completely sure. And then I'm just stirring that up. And honestly, it looked pretty much the same. I just found a little bit of glitter in there, but you couldn't really tell unless you added a lot. Okay, then you're seriously just going to take different food colorings and just mix them in with the cornstarch. And the food coloring will kind of like actually get like hard in a way, and you have to like break it up once it hits the cornstarch and the baby powder. And I'm not really sure what causes it to do that, but you just kind of have to break it up. And you can add just different colors just to make it the blush that you would like. Next, I'm going to take my rubbing alcohol and pour it into a spoon, just so we don't end up adding too much rubbing alcohol. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you're going to do rubbing alcohol, you're going to want to add, not a ton more, but you're going to want to add a little bit more of everything just because the rubbing alcohol will kind of shrink everything down. But just add the rubbing alcohol in and just add enough to kind of make it into a paste. I added just a little bit of yellow to the side, and then I just scoop it up with my chopstick and then mix it into the entire thing just to add a little bit of more to my blush. And I also forgot to mention, make sure not to wear your favorite t-shirt like I did and accidentally ruined it. So yay. But just make sure to use a t-shirt that doesn't really matter if it gets ruined. But I'm just adding more and more dye and then more and more of baby powder or cornstarch until it looks like it's going to be a good amount. Okay, so you're actually going to probably want to wear gloves, and I cannot believe that I just thought of this right now. But you're probably going to want to put on gloves for this part, but you're kind of just smooshing it up with your fingers just to kind of make sure that there's no clumps, because I found that my chopstick wasn't getting all of them, and when I go to smush down a clump, it would just move away from my chopstick. But make sure to wear gloves because my fingers are like deep red right now. And then you're just going to want to smush up all of the lumps. Then you're just going to want to grab your spoon and scoop out all of the product out of the spoon, off the plate into your container. Couldn't think of the name of it. But you're just going to want to put it into the container from the plate. and just scoop it in there, and then just take your chopstick kind of and smush out any clumps that are in there as well. Then you're just going to want to put it into the freezer and just let it sit there for around 30 minutes or longer. And then when it's out, it's like the Maybelline Dream Bouncy Blushes in a way, and you can just stop right here. I haven't yet, so I'm not really sure how it'll turn out, but if you guys try it, make sure to comment down below and tell me how it works out, because I'm not sure if like the dye will evaporate and then it will just turn into the regular thing, since there is extra dye and that's what's making it like bouncy. But if you don't want it to be that way, just take a tissue and fold it up kind of, and just smash it in there to remove all of the extra dye that's sitting on top, and then just kind of reform it with like a sponge or something, just so it doesn't look all dented from the tissue. If it's still kind of like moisture, like if there's still dye in it, you might want to put it back into the freezer for probably like an hour or so, because as you can see from this shot, it still has like dye on the top. But even right now, it's still incredibly pigmented, and it's kind of like a stain in a way, like Benetint, or I think that's what it's called, but Benetint, where it's like a cheek stain, it's kind of like that. But I wouldn't put this on your lips just because it's baby powder, and I don't know if you can eat that or not.